I know you're taking your show on the road to the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Committee. I think that meeting is today, this afternoon. It was scheduled. You
Two
got
o'clock today. You've been keeping tabs on us, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm a stalker. That's kind of what I do.
That's literally, no, she's not joking.
Your bill sounds intriguing. It says it would phase in dedication of the temporary sales tax levy to the Transportation Trust Fund. That's what I'm reading. You explain.
Well, that's correct. What it slowly does is over this, not starting with this year's budget, but next year's budget, it slowly moves the 0.45 temporary sales tax that we passed last year and dedicates it to the Transportation Trust Fund for our roads and bridges. We all realize we need to invest in our roads and bridges. The state of Texas dedicates a half a penny of sales tax to roads and bridges. This would be 0.45 of a penny to roads and bridges.
Mr. Barrow, now there was
a
sunset provision on that. Would this make that tax permanent, though?
No, the sunset is still there. And what the important thing about this is we need to make sure that DOTD can gain the trust of the citizens of Louisiana. Too often we hear that they want to study. We know we have to invest in our roads, but let's see if DOTD can earn the trust of the citizens of Louisiana.
So explain to us how that does that.
Well, if they would have 6 years or 5 years basically of revenue to come in to put towards roads and bridges. If they can demonstrate to the citizens, hey, we're being good stewards of this money, we're putting it to work on roads and bridges across the state of Louisiana, not just in Baton Rouge or New Orleans, this is something we're going to need going forward. Consider renewing it down the road in 6 years.
But Barrow, we need the money in the general fund because we have all these expenses to take care of because we have a cliff we might fall off again.
That's what I'm trying to avoid is another cliff. If you slowly phase it off of the general fund into the Transportation Trust Fund, and as the overall economy is growing, I mean, as you realize, we have a surplus. Revenue estimating just met last week. They recognize additional revenue coming in. If you phase out this sales tax to the general fund, you're going to stop another cliff from forming 6 years from now. Because if you don't do anything, 6 years from now, you're going to have everybody screaming, the sky's falling, because you've created another cliff for the state of Louisiana.
You think you got a bipartisan idea here? Is this something that the minions of the governor, especially on your side in the Senate, where he's a little more powerful, what's the governor's sense of this?
I feel like the Secretary Wilson and the governor like user fees. They want gas tax. I don't believe that's the right move because more and more our vehicles are getting more efficient. People are buying electric cars such as a Tesla. They're not paying for our roads and bridges with those kind of vehicles. We need to have an alternative source of revenue, and a sales tax, everybody pays that. When someone buys that Tesla, goes to Walmart, goes to Home Depot, they go down a state highway, they pay that sales tax that goes to fund that road they just drove on.
Barrow, you're going to be before the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Committee today. Friendly crowd for your measure, or is this going to be a battle?
Rev and Fizz is a very tough committee. It is a very tough committee. I'm hoping for a fair hearing in there.
Looks like nobody local on it. No local folks are on it, huh?
No local people are on this committee, no.
Speaking of the gas tax, let's lean on that for a second or two. Is that actually going to come up as legislation in this session, which coincidentally is an election year? What are you hearing? Who's going to introduce this? Is it still the Republican guy whose name eludes me? What's going to happen there?
That is a new tax, and that has to start in the House with Representative Steve Carter. He actually incorporated my bill into his bill, and I heard through the grapevine that he was pulling my bill out of his bill because the governor was opposed to that. So you mentioned, do I think the governor is supportive of this? Unfortunately, no. But I do think if the governor would embrace this is something that the legislature would support and invest in our roads and bridges with this. It does sunset It says, DOTD, does this work? You got to show us that you can be a good steward. It basically also puts the money towards, half of it towards local governments to the regional DOTD regions, the 9 of them. So it's not just all in Baton Rouge. And also, what happened this past year in Baton Rouge, they passed a half a penny sales tax in Baton Rouge for roads and bridges. So they've already taken the other, there was that 1 penny temporary sales tax, the legislature rolled that back to 0.45. What did Baton Rouge do this past spring? They went back for the half a penny and they put it towards the roads and bridges.